Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is an IKV-65 Alt 2. It's the Swedish Tier 6 tank destroyer, and this one's located on the south spawn of Redshire Encounter. And the name of the commander is Squirrlynuts, and he's got a mark of excellence on his barrel, so he's going to be taking this glass cannon with a 90mm gun off for a spin. Okay, battle has started. Now he's headed straight for the hill on this side of the map. The enemy will come into sight probably up that other hill, the opposing one, just underneath the Zeppelin. Now when I'm playing Arty, I normally look for somebody knocking a tree down in this area. Somebody always does. Look, there's a tree gone down, and in fact it was the AMX CLC who did it. Well, very silly move, because that actually tells me where you are. Okay, he's got his first target. It's a KV-220-2, and that's a Soviet premium tier 5. And up there he's got an M4. Now he can get a shot at the M4. He's dialing in, and he's not shooting, because he's not using the gun mechanic at the moment. If he was to fire, he would actually be hit. Right, he's pulled back. And now he's using the bush mechanic, but the M4 has pulled back below the ridge line. He's pulling forward just to see where he is. Yes, he is below the ridge line. Oh, and he's been joined by an M4, who probably is going to fire straight through the bush without using the bush mechanic. And Squirrlynuts fires around without using the bush mechanic there, and so he might have been spotted. Going for the M4 again. And he gets a good hit this time, 226. Of course, 90mm gun. As I say, it's a bit of a glass cannon. This is actually a TD that was never actually produced. It was designed, but it had very, very weak armor. Okay, he's destroyed that IKV. Stug 3. Can he get a shot on it? No, he's not. He's got a very long reload, 8.9 seconds. So the only kill on the team so far is from Squirrlynuts. And they're down by 6 tanks at the moment. 6! This is an absolutely terrible... And he's got a second kill! So 2 kills from Squirrlynuts and nothing from the rest of his team. And they are... The enemy is capping. Okay, there's a Stug 3G and he is visible there. And yes, 216 hit points, but it's not enough to wipe him out. But he pulls back before the Stug can get a return shot. Now there's a lot of fighting going on around the castle area. It's mostly medium tanks, and I get the feeling that that Squirrlynuts is going to try and get a few shots into some of those mediums using the ridgeline there. He knocks the tree over. That's actually only to give him a bit of cover. Now he's locked on to the Cromwell because he's very, very close to the Cromwell. Oh, receives a round from a P25, Panzer 25. That's the premium German tier 5. Over by the castle area, and we've got the KV-220s behind us now. He's going up and going back to the bush. Still capping, but it's an encounter battle, so the cap does take a lot longer than normal. And there's the Stug 3G. And he takes him out of the game, 134. So 3 kills for Squirrlynuts. And there's a Chaffee coming down. And can we get a shot into him? We've locked on, but no. Trouble with auto aim is sometimes if the target ducks below the ridgeline, you're aiming into the ground, because obviously it aims at the centre mass of the target, and that can actually be unhelpful. We can see where the Panzer T25 is. He's over on the west side of the map at the moment. That's the one who hit us, and so we need to be wary about him. But he's going after some of our other teammates. And it's a T50 that's in the cap, and he's being assaulted by the Stug. We're coming over the top and finish him off. 98 hit points, gets a good shot in, but we're coming out of the cap because we might be being shot at by the enemy over on the east side of the map. Now, is he going to go back to the other ridge line and try and shoot down on the enemy? Well, the enemy just lost their Panzer T25. but they do still have a leopard in that area, so I think he's going back to the cover of these trees to see if he can get shots. And there's the leopard leading, and oh no, he dirt that one into the ground ahead of him. You have to lead the target sometimes. Okay, he's auto-aimed, going in close. There's the leopard. Hopefully he doesn't have the auto cannon, because no, he's got the whole 5cm gun, and he takes out the leopard in the rear. 159 hit points. That's his 5th kill. He's now in the cap, and oh, that was enemy Arty, and he's been stunned, but he didn't lose any crew members. Now there's 2 enemy heavy tanks over here. The scores are even, but the enemy does have 2 heavies. No, they've lost one. That's good news. It's 4 versus 4. And a fairly even team. His team, squirrlynuts' team, has got 1 light tank more. The enemy's got 1 Arty more. But we know that their Arty have been affected. There's the 220, tough armor, but he manages to get around him, but takes a round in return and carries on moving, because obviously you don't want to tangle with a KV-220 on reload when you've got a very long reload, 9-second reload. KV-220 will take you out. So he's coming back round. He's got the KV-2 to help him now. This time round he should be able to get it. The 220 should go down to the KV-2. Or squirrlynuts can get him by going over the top. No, the KV-2 got him, but he took 2 rounds, and one of those was from the enemy Arty. Squirrlynuts is being careful to keep on the move, and we've lost the KV-2. He was taken out by the enemy M44. So we're now indicating to our own Arty to get in the cap as quickly as possible. We've got somebody in the cap at the moment anyway, but it takes 3 minutes 15 seconds to cap from this point. So it looks like squirrlynuts is going to go Arty hunting. And normally the spawn point is in A7, but I doubt the Arty will be there. Oh, he is there! Would you believe it? And he's been spotted, and I'm not sure he knows he's been spotted. We're pulling back for the bush mechanic, but the gun's changed direction. 230 hit points, and I think the squirrlynuts may have been spotted by that Wolverine up on the ridgeline. And that means he might be about to receive some Arty rounds. Oh, no, the Wolverine's gone down into the dip. So he's gone down into the cap, and he's taken out our capper. He killed the AMX ELC Biz, which was the capping tank. So it's now even. There's a tank destroyer on either side, and 1 Arty, and there's the M44. And he's ignoring the M44 at this stage. I think actually he should kill the M44, because obviously the M44 is quite a big threat in terms of the amount of damage he can do. So he's going around the outside, coming back. Oh, the M44! Has he been? No, he's still there. That's the M41 we're looking at, that black mark. We go in and try and get as close as we can to avoid the M44 getting a shotgun on us. There he is. Turn. Fires 1 round in and gets it goes into the tracks, but he's going to get into the side of the M44, and he's going to hold him there, and that's a kill shot. 78 hit points, and the enemy has now just got 1 tank left, the Wolverine, and he knows where we are. But he's in the cap, and he has to stay in the cap, because if he doesn't, he's going to find it very, very difficult to cap out when he's fighting both an Arty and a tank destroyer. Personally though, I think I would probably run for it. If I was in the Wolverine, I'd probably run, try and get away to a position where I can snipe at whoever was in the cap. So I'd wait for the IKV to start capping, then I'd start sniping at them. Okay, he's approaching the Wolverine. The Wolverine's a Tier 5 American tank destroyer, actually known as the M10. It wasn't called the Wolverine during the war, and I think that squirrlynuts is being very clever here. What he's doing is waiting for the enemy to build up the cap points before he makes his approach. And there's the Wolverine. Okay, he's been located, and his teammate in the Arty is firing. He's auto-aimed. And one shot in, 252 hit points, resets the cap. But he did take a shot in return, and the Arty helps out and finishes off the last enemy. But squirrlynuts still managed to get 7 kills. He misses out on the Radley Waters. If only the friendly Arty had left that last one alive, then he could have ended up with a Radley Waters to boot. So let's have a look at the end of battle stats. And it's an ace tanker for squirrlynuts in the IKV-65 Alt 2. He also picked up a Hand of God for being damaged by at least 4 different enemies during the battle and surviving them. He got a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He managed to get 7 in that battle. A Fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points of your own vehicle. A Pascucci's medal because he took out both of the enemy RT, the M44 and the M41. A High Caliber for dealing the most damage in the battle. And lastly, the Top Gun for getting at least 6 kills. And he was just 1 short of the Radleys. If only our RT had realised that, he could have left that last kill for squirrlynuts. And that would have been very, very nice indeed to take that win. So let's have a look at the team scores. Highest damage, 1,825 hit points of damage, 500 more than the AMX CLC Biz, who had only 1,309. Highest score on the enemy team was their M44 with 1,566. So he must be a very good player, Wombits, because, or Vombits I should say, because he did actually manage to get 8 kills. He got a Radley Waters, a Bruiser and a Top Gun. So kudos to Vombits and good try. But unfortunately, right at the end, when you were faced with an IKV, really all you could do is try and shotgun him as quickly as you could. But I'm afraid squirrlynuts was just too quick for you. So when it came to base XP, we've got squirrlynuts with 1,141. Next highest player was the KV2. He managed 697. And then our AMX 13105, who managed 3 kills in the end. And so they could have platooned actually, but he managed 679 base XP and 1,121. So Baba Khan, next time you're in a battle and you see that somebody's got 7 kills and they've just taken a big chunk out of the enemy, let him finish it off and get that Radley Waters, because it certainly would have been nicer. So let's have a look at detail report. Well, he fired 15 rounds from that 90mm gun. He got 12 direct hits, 11 penetrations, damage of 1,825 hit points, of which 93 were at more than 300 meters. He received 3 hits, all of them were penetrations, and that goes to what I said about this being a glass cannon with very little armor. He also received 1 hit as a result of splash damage, and that was while he was in the cap area. He spotted 3 enemy vehicles, damaged 9 of the enemy, that's 3/5 of the enemy team, and killed 7 of the enemy. And he did damage assistance of 266 hit points. He got 2 base capture points and 52 defense points when he reset the cap. Actually, he could have let the cap continue for some time, driven in once it got to a sufficient level of 70, and picked up a defender medal to boot. And in fact, actually, I think a lot of players would have been very tempted to do that. He received 24,882 credits, got a personal reserves bonus going at the same time for 3,733, bringing his total up to 28,614. And after repair and ammunition resupply, he took away 21,226 credits. He received base XP of 1,141, times 2 for the first victory of the day, and he took away 2,282. So a really good battle, and yes, he did get a little help from Arty, but actually it wasn't a little help as such, more than a little hindrance, because squirrlynuts could have been looking at a Radley Waters at this moment, as well as all the other medals, but sadly he missed out on that by just 1 tank and a few hit points. And so yeah, that was very sad, but a good battle nonetheless, and well done to squirrlynuts. So if you enjoyed this replay, please give it a like and do subscribe to our channel, and hopefully it'll be your replay that I'll be featuring in the next video.